Something happened behind closed doors last night, and Marjorie Taylor Greene just said the one sentence Republicans prayed she'd keep quiet. A confidential deal between Trump and GOP leadership was supposed to stay buried until MTG blew it wide open. And the part she revealed, first, that's the part that has everyone panicking. Republicans thought they controlled the narrative, but MTG just exposed a secret that flips the entire 2024 strategy on its head, and it gets even worse. Today, we're diving into the story Washington insiders hoped you would ignore, a story involving loyalty, power, fear, and a secret deal that could reshape the Republican Party in ways most Americans aren't prepared for. Stay with me, because the moment you think the controversy stops, it takes another turn. The Republican Party has seen its fair share of internal battles, but what unfolded this week felt different. It wasn't just another disagreement. It wasn't a routine clash of personalities. This time, the conflict reached behind the scenes into the very machinery that controls political survival in Washington. And at the center of the storm, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like her or hate her, she has a reputation. She doesn't whisper, she doesn't hint, she detonates. So when she walked out of a closed-door Republican meeting and began speaking very publicly about a deal involving Donald Trump, the panic inside the GOP leadership was almost instant. But hey, what's politics without a little drama, right? If Congress ever installed a popcorn machine, it would probably pay for itself in one afternoon. But this wasn't entertainment. This wasn't theatrics. This was a genuine fracture unveiled in real time. According to Greene, senior Republicans held a meeting with Trump's inner circle, one not listed on public schedules, not acknowledged by official spokespersons, and not meant to reach the public. On the surface, it was supposed to be routine coordination, but Greene claimed there was nothing routine about it. So what was the deal? What was the urgency? What were Republicans so desperate to hide? I'll tell you in a moment. But this next detail is important because it explains why the leak was so explosive. The Republican Party is divided into two camps: those who believe alignment with Trump is essential to the party's future, and those who believe it is the party's greatest vulnerability. This meeting, the one Greene exposed, involved leaders trying to broker a strategic agreement between these factions. Think of it as a political peace treaty, except it wasn't peaceful, and it definitely wasn't a treaty, and here's where everything begins to unravel, because the secret deal wasn't about unity at all. It was something far riskier, and Republicans knew it the moment Greene said it out loud. We're getting there. Stay with me. Greene wasn't vague. She wasn't subtle. She spoke with a confidence that shocked even those familiar with her style. She revealed that Republican leaders and Trump's team made a private agreement about future legislative priorities in exchange for internal support and committee influence. In plain English, Trump wanted specific deals made now so he could benefit later. And Republicans, at least according to Greene, were prepared to comply. This wasn't simply about elections. This was about shaping the flow of power inside the House, controlling committee decisions, and preparing the party for a potential Trump return to the White House. Greene claimed that certain GOP leaders promised future policy loyalty, procedural changes, and a commitment to block any legislation Trump viewed as disloyal. But the part that truly sent shockwaves, Greene alleged this deal was made without informing most Republican members, including those it would directly affect. In Washington, secrecy isn't unusual, but secrecy involving Trump, that's a completely different level of political risk. The panic wasn't because of the deal itself, it was because of what it suggested. A private arrangement like this would mean GOP leaders are shaping policy around Trump's expectations, decisions affecting millions of Americans are being negotiated behind closed doors, internal party democracy is being replaced with fealty to one individual. For the leadership, this is the kind of leak that can destroy careers. And Greene knew it. At this point, somewhere in Washington, a PR staffer probably dropped their coffee and whispered, "Oh no, not today." Within hours, spokespersons issued clarifications. Some denied the meeting, others admitted it but insisted it was routine. A few claimed Greene misunderstood the discussion. But you know what's interesting? No one denied the core details. Not directly, not clearly. They danced around it. They rephrased it. They minimized it. If you've ever watched someone try to clean up a spill by smearing it with a napkin, that's what it looked like. The panic wasn't about optics alone. It was about timing, because this revelation came at a moment when Republicans are already struggling with internal discipline, divided on funding, impeachment, and foreign policy, disagreeing on election strategy, and facing a public increasingly tired of chaos. Greene's claim didn't expose a secret deal, it exposed a party on the brink. Let me ask you a question, and it's rhetorical, but you'll get the point. Do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene accidentally leaked this? Of course not. Greene's political instincts are sharper than many give her credit for. She understands leverage. She understands timing. She understands how to weaponize attention. Her motive wasn't just to expose the deal. It was to insert herself into the center of it. Because in Washington, the person who leaks the secret becomes the person the secret revolves around. This wasn't a whistleblow. It was a power play. Now we reach the part Republicans hoped would never make it to the public. Greene claimed the deal wasn't just about legislative priorities. It also involved prearranged responses to upcoming investigations and oversight actions, actions that could affect Trump's legal and political future. If true, this means committees could be pressured to avoid certain subpoenas, members could be pushed to coordinate public defense narratives, legislative actions could be modified to serve political protection. That's not merely strategy, that's institutional influence being traded for political power. And here's the cliffhanger. Because if Greene is telling the truth, then the deal might not even be the biggest problem. The biggest problem might be that this deal was only the first of several planned. More on that in a moment. When internal fractures become public, the consequences hit fast. Republican lawmakers began publicly distancing themselves from Greene, while others quietly admitted, if she's saying it, she heard it from someone who was in that room. Sources inside the GOP claim that several members confronted leadership privately, demanding explanations. One reportedly said, this isn't a party, this is becoming a monarchy, and that sentiment is growing because Greene didn't just leak a secret. She revealed a pressure point, a point where loyalty to Trump intersects with the responsibilities of governing. And when those two conflict, loyalty often wins. The media pounced immediately. Networks ran competing interpretations. Some called the story exaggerated. Others called it a crisis. A few said it confirmed what insiders already suspected. But no matter the angle, the story spread faster than Republican strategists expected. And that's why the panic grew. Because the true danger in politics isn't the leak itself. It's the public's interpretation of that leak. For Americans above 40, the voters who remember calmer days in politics, the idea of secret deals involving legislative influence isn't just concerning, it's exhausting. And exhaustion is political kryptonite. So what happens next? Let's break it down. Scenario 1, leadership denies everything. This might calm the surface tension briefly, but distrust inside the party will deepen. Scenario 2, leadership quietly punishes Greene. This could backfire, elevating her as a martyr to her base. Scenario 3, Trump doubles down. If Trump confirms parts of the deal, intentionally or not, the entire GOP leadership structure gets pulled into the fallout. Scenario 4, investigations begin. If congressional procedures were influenced, oversight committees could intervene. But here's the most likely. Scenario 5, the silence strategy. The party says as little as possible, hopes the public moves on, and prays Greene doesn't release more details. The problem? Greene rarely stops at one revelation. In her final comments, Greene hinted, almost casually, that she hadn't shared everything. She said, there's a lot more people need to know, and if leadership doesn't come clean, I will. That wasn't a statement. That was a threat. Which brings us to the last and most important question. If Greene truly has more information, it could trigger internal investigations, leadership challenges, a complete restructuring of GOP priorities, or a public split between pro-Trump and anti-Trump Republicans. Every time Greene drops a new detail, the party will be forced to react. And reaction is a political weakness. Republicans aren't just panicking because of what Greene revealed. They're panicking because of what she might reveal next. What if the meetings were recorded? What if there were texts? What if multiple members were aware? What if this wasn't the first deal, only the first one exposed? This is the fear gripping Washington now, not the leak, but the possibility of more leaks coming. This story isn't just about Trump. It isn't just about Greene. It isn't just about Republicans. It's about the future of political transparency in the United States. If secret deals are shaping legislative agendas, then governance becomes secondary to political negotiation, and voters, especially older Americans who lived through decades of political eras, recognize the pattern. When backroom deals become the norm, public trust erodes, and once trust is gone, it rarely comes back. So here we are, a party in chaos, a leak that wasn't supposed to happen, a deal that was never supposed to reach the public, and a political figure who has positioned herself as the gatekeeper to whatever happens next. The question now isn't what was the secret deal. We already know that. The real question is, how much more is she willing to expose? And based on her history, I doubt this is the end of the story.